The year is 1886, and the last known trumpeter swan living in Ontario has been shot. The species is now considered extinct in the province. On February 6, 2026, I traveled to LaSalle Park in Burlington, Ontario, home to a number of familiar species of waterfowl, including nearly 100 trumpeter swans. How can this be possible? Let me show you. In 1831, Scottish naturalist John Richardson described a new species of North American waterfowl, which he named the trumpeter swan. A name given to the bird because of its loud trumpeting call, a call which you'll be hearing a lot of during this video. In terms of identification, trumpeter swans look like what most people would imagine when they hear the word swan. Trumpeter swans have large black feet and legs, white plumage, and a long neck ending in a black bill, which they use to forage for aquatic plants and occasionally small fish and their eggs in the shallows of wetlands. During the winter, trumpeters will incorporate more grains into their diet and are frequently observed feeding on the remains of harvested agricultural fields. Now, if you ever find yourself looking at a flock of trumpeter swans, you may notice that some individuals have a gray wash to their feathers. Now, these individuals aren't old or unhealthy, they're juveniles. Similarly to how bald eagles don't acquire their iconic plumage until they are between 4 to 5 years in age, trumpeter swans don't turn completely white until they're just over a year old. By any definition, trumpeter swans are big birds. Their wingspan can range from 6 to 10 feet, and they can weigh up to 30 pounds, making them on average the heaviest flying bird native to North America. Ranking 5th worldwide following the Cory bustard, great bustard, Dalmatian pelican, and the Andean condor. In North America, there are 2 other species of swan which the trumpeter is often mistaken for. The most similar species is the Tundra Swan, an almost identical bird with the exception of a patch of yellow skin between the nostrils and eye of the bird called a lore. The size of this lore is highly variable, depending on what subspecies of Tundra Swan you're looking at. The North American race of Tundra Swan, sometimes referred to as the whistling swan, usually has a relatively small lore, whereas the lore of the Eurasian race, known as the Bewick swan, is quite large. Juvenile trumpeter and tundra swans also look quite similar to one another, with the key difference being that juvenile tundra swans usually have more pink on their bill. Now there is one other species of swan which is sometimes mistaken for a trumpeter. And in fact, the swan you're looking at right now is not a trumpeter swan, but an invasive mute swan. A Eurasian species of swan, which was introduced to North America during the mid-1800s to the early 1900s to decorate the properties of large estates, public parks, and zoos. Since then, mute swans have established breeding populations throughout eastern North America and have seriously impacted native ecosystems. Now, mute swans consume a lot of food, and as a result, can decimate the amount of aquatic vegetation which is available to other species of waterfowl. Mute swans can also be quite aggressive and have been documented driving native waterfowl out of prime habitat. In this clip, you can even see a mute swan antagonizing a trumpeter swan. Mute swans have also been documented attacking people who have gotten too close to their nests and young. In 2012, a kayaker from Illinois paddled too close to a mute swan nest, and the pair ended up capsizing his boat. attacking him so relentlessly that he was unable to swim to shore and ended up drowning as a result of fatigue. A word from the wise: if you see mute swans nesting or accompanying their young, give them their space. Outside of North America, there are 4 other species of swan, these being the black-necked swan, whooper swan, Coscaroba swan, and the black swan, each one sharing the staggering beauty and elegance of the trumpeter swan. Unfortunately, it was the beauty and size of the trumpeter swan which caught the eyes of European settlers upon their arrival to North America. The meat of the birds was eaten, their skin was made into powder puffs, and their feathers were sold as quills. Even John James Audubon, a pioneer of American ornithology, preferred using trumpeter swan quills while creating his well-known Birds of America paintings, stating that they were so hard and yet so elastic that the best steel pen of the present day might have blushed if it could to be compared with them. A major driver of the swan trade was the Hudson's Bay Company, and between the year 1823 and 1880, over 100,000 swan skins were sold by the company. The swans were also impacted by the company's harvest of beavers and muskrats due to the swans' preference of nesting on top of the lodges that are built by these 2 species. And with a relentless harvest such as this, it was only a matter of time before what was once described as the most abundant swan in the interior of the fur counties was nearly wiped out from existence. By 1932, a mere 69 trumpeter swans remained in the contiguous United States, located only within the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem. With populations as low as they were, action needed to be taken. Conservation efforts began by establishing the Red Rock Lakes National Wildlife Refuge in Montana to provide protection to the swans from illegal harvest and human disturbance. This population was further supported by supplemental winter feeding programs to ensure that the birds had enough food during the harsh winters. By 1954, these conservation efforts had managed to grow the population residing in the Greater Yellowstone ecosystem from 69 to 642 birds. But the work didn't stop there. In order to re-establish trumpeter swan populations across North America, both swans and their eggs were transplanted in a number of wildlife refuges across the United States and Canada from the 1930s to the 1960s. During the 1950s, trumpeter swan conservation experienced a windfall when a population of 1,000 to 2,000 trumpeter swans, unknown to scientists, was discovered in Alaska and Western Canada. This discovery provided scientists with an easy way of increasing the genetic diversity of North America's trumpeter swan populations. A huge win. Meanwhile, in my home province of Ontario, things were not going so well. In 1886, the last known trumpeter swan living in Ontario was shot by a hunter in Long Point. For 100 years, the species was considered extinct in the province, until one man decided to bring them back. In 1982, a Ministry of Natural Resource biologist by the name of Harry Lumsden began a trumpeter swan restoration project with the intention of bringing the birds back to Ontario. After obtaining eggs from Alaska's population, cygnets were hatched, distributed, and entrusted to various landowners whose properties would serve as the homes for potential breeding pairs. At first, the program was off to a rocky start. While foraging for food and grit, trumpeter swans would consume spent lead shot used for hunting waterfowl and discarded or lost fishing tackle. This inevitably led to a number of swans passing away due to lead poisoning, and along with the disappearance of roughly 70% of suitable wetland habitat in southern Ontario due to development, Ontarian trumpeter swans were indeed fighting an uphill battle. But this was a cause worth fighting for. Throughout the course of this project, swans were tagged and banded. These bright yellow tags and metal bands allowed scientists to mark birds as individuals, tracking metrics such as lifespan and migratory patterns. These tags and bans in no way impact the bird's ability to survive and have proven to be invaluable in measuring the success of the program. In 1988, Y Marsh, located in Midland, Ontario, received its very first breeding pair of trumpeter swans. These swans were named Big Guy and Lady Girl, and in 1990, the pair raised their first cygnet, who was named Pigpen. If you're wondering where Pigpen got her name, it's because she was constantly filthy like Pigpen from the Peanuts. I'm just kidding. In the world of swans, the males are referred to as cobs, and the females are called pens. Given that Pigpen was a female and an insatiable and messy eater, the name Pigpen seemed rather fitting. In 1991, legislation was passed which prohibited the use of lead shot when hunting migratory birds, a huge win for conservation. And the good news just kept coming. In 1993, Pigpen and her mate became the first wild trumpeter swans to naturally nest in Ontario in over 200 years. Unfortunately, throughout her lifetime, Pigpen suffered a series of injuries, including a shotgun injury to her right wing, a bacterial infection which rendered her blind in her right eye, and in 2001, Pigpen was struck by a watercraft, and after 6 months of treatment, she succumbed to her injuries. During her lifetime, Pigpen laid 49 eggs and hatched 38, with many of her descendants still alive to this day. But perhaps her crowning achievement was the establishment of a migratory route of trumpeter swans in Ontario, a route which is used by countless swans to migrate from Y Marsh and the surrounding areas to LaSalle Park in Burlington, Ontario each year, the same place where this film began. In dedication to his devotion to the conservation and restoration of Ontario's trumpeter swans, in 2004, Harry Lumsden was awarded membership to the Order of Canada, the Ontario Field Ornithologist Distinguished Ornithology Award in 2008, and the Lieutenant Governor's Ontario Heritage Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2012. In honor of Pigpen's incredible contribution to Ontario's Trumpeter Swan Restoration Program, the Trumpeter Swan Rehabilitation Centre, now known as Swan Landing, has been dedicated to her memory. Over the course of their lifetimes, both Pigpen and Harry left an incredible legacy, proving that one individual can make an incredible difference in the world. As of 2025, a total of 3,167 trumpeter swans were counted in South Central Ontario by Trumpeter Swan Conservation Ontario. In 2015, researchers estimated that over 63,000 trumpeter swans inhabit North America. While the conservation of the trumpeter swan is an incredible story of resilience and determination, I think it's important that we are not blinded by the success of this project. What I mean is that there have been many instances in which humanity was not given a second chance to fix its mistakes. Take the passenger pigeon, for example, a bird which was once so abundant that it would take flocks hours to pass overhead. In 1857, an Ohio State Senate committee report stated the following: "The passenger pigeon needs no protection. Wonderfully prolific, having the vast forests of the north as its breeding grounds, traveling hundreds of miles in search of food, it is here today and elsewhere tomorrow, and no ordinary destruction can lessen them or be missed from the myriads that are yearly produced." 57 years later, the last known passenger pigeon, Martha, passed away in the Cincinnati Zoo. The passenger pigeon, once numbering in the billions, was now extinct, decimated by habitat loss and overexploitation. Just because the trumpeter swan is recovered does not mean it is immune to becoming extinct. Habitat loss, lead poisoning, and power line collisions are threats which have not disappeared. And as history has taught us, no species is ever truly safe from extinction. Now I know what you might be thinking. With genetic engineering companies such as Colossal Biosciences working on de-extinction, why should we be worried about extinction in the first place? In my opinion, this way of thinking is a slippery slope that undermines accountability for the ecological damage caused by our actions. If there was an undo button you could press anytime you made a mistake, you wouldn't care about making mistakes in the first place. As our planet continues to warm, we are quickly approaching a point where the harm we are inflicting on the Earth will be permanent. No redos, no second chances, and at the end of the day, we can implement all the restoration and captive breeding programs we want, but if there's no suitable habitat left, thousands of species will go the way of the dodo. We've seen the difference that one person can make. Just imagine what a united Earth could accomplish. Planet Earth is not a machine with parts that can be replaced at the drop of a hat. She is a living, breathing organism which provides us with everything we could possibly need, and all she asks for in return is our stewardship. The battle to save our planet is certainly not over, and I, for one, am not done fighting.